people, welcome back to What the Tech with your favorite host, of course, the prettiest of the prettiest. All right. I'm here with my favorite person, Zaza.
Hello.
And today, once again, we have the talent pool, man. Like, we're just dripping of women.
You guys. And
feminism, female, whatever, I don't know, guys, but you may know some of them or all of them, but I'm just gonna let them, introduce themselves and like just tell us like a bio, but not really a bio because a bio is boring, but like something about themselves,
Cool. I'll try not to make it boring, I guess. But I am Dinielia Pillay, and I am a recruiter, I guess, everybody's favorite person, the HR team. So yeah, that's pretty much what I focus on. Tech recruitment, graduate recruitment, I guess all kinds of recruitment, really.
Hi everyone, I'm Ashleigh Mabaire. I'm currently a developer transitioning into developer advocate.
Developer advocate.
Tell us more about that. Tell us more.
So developer advocate is someone who basically is the link between a product. So we have a product called Shesha and the people who use Shesha. So both internally, the developers developing the system and also the external community, because it is an open source framework. So the people who try out that framework, I'm like the link between them, seeing what works, what isn't working, what improvements would they like. And of course, just putting it out in the market, getting people to use the system.
Yeah, that's an actual career.
Yes, it is.
Developer advocate.
Yes, it's a combination of development, because you also have to do like the demo systems, YouTube videos, tutorials.
Yeah.
But you also get the fun side of things, going to events, marketing. So it's like an all-in-one tech role.
New job on the list.
Yeah, this one is the best. No law degree, no whatsoever, just a developer advocate, right?
You do need to have some experience and of course the degree.
Of course.
Because you can't really help people if you don't really understand like some technical aspects of things.
Yeah.
So for me, that's actually an advantage because I was or am a developer. So when they do bring queries or questions, and even with the documentation, it makes the process a bit easier.
Okay.
So, yeah.
But how did you guys get into your field,
So for me, it was interesting. I actually studied psychology, and then I decided I want to start making money. So I didn't, do my honors or postgrad like that. So I decided I want to get into HR.
with a psych degree? Just a bachelor's?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. So it is possible, first and foremost. Oftentimes, if people have their undergrad in psych, the general consensus is, I have to do honors and then masters and then I become a psychologist. But you can pivot, right? Because psychology is about people.
Yeah.
HR, human resources, right? And so I decided I want to work, and that's how I got to be an HR graduate at BoxFusion. And since then, I've got exposed to a lot of different things, but I just love recruitment. Graduate recruitment, getting people in jobs, that's my passion.
How about keeping them in jobs? how does that one work?
So with tech, it's always about upskilling.
Yeah.
And I always say your degree is never enough. Because the transition for me from psych to HR was a big one. I didn't do HR HR wasn't any of my modules in school.
Yeah.
So as I was working, I was learning. But that goes for all jobs, right? In terms of staying in your job, learning, guys. I can't stress it enough.
Learn and learn. How about you?
So for me, I joined or started working through a graduate program. So I did the graduate program for 1 year, and then I moved. So I was working in the DevOps department, and then that was like almost for a year, but it had a combination of just back-end development as well.
Yeah.
And then because of a company transition, I was then given an opportunity to become a developer advocate, just because of my personality, and I'm more also on the social side of things, even though I do enjoy the coding and the technical side. So they just said it would be like the perfect.
No, I actually see myself.
I see myself.
Hey, you have to talk after this, right?
Yes, you do.
But yeah, on to like more serious things, right? So this one is for you actually, because it's you're the queen of this.
Okay.
So when you're recruiting, right, or like people are applying for tech roles, what qualities or skills stand out the most to you?
So obviously I'm going to talk about tech, right? Passion. You know, kids these days decide to study comp sci or IT, and the idea is I'm going to make a lot of money.
Yes.
Which I can attest is true. But if you're getting into it for the money, you're getting into it for the wrong reasons. Right? And then oftentimes I interact with a lot of students and I ask them, you know, what they know, and they ask me for CV tips, and I was like, you have to work on your personal projects because your degree is not enough. And that's just the unfortunate truth. We're at that point in time, right? And also, there's a big gap between university and world of work. Everything you learned at school, whilst useful, is not necessarily applicable, right? And that's why I say passion will always, sometimes, not always, passion can, I guess, compete against hard work. But think about it from this point of view. If you wake up every morning and you're loving what you do, naturally, you're going to want to be the best at it, right? So that's very, very important. And sometimes the CVs hit my desk and it's the personal details, and then the education is BSc Computer Science, and that's it. No programming languages, no frameworks, no GitHub repo. And my thing is, I have a degree, you have a degree, and now
We all have degrees.
exactly. You know, it's getting to that point. To the point where when I'm having conversations with these kids, and I'm like, yeah, you need to have your GitHub repo or even like a portfolio or a website, and they're like, ma'am, you know, GitHub is not my favorite thing. But when you are working, that's what the guys use, right? So you need to be able to overcome that, and you really need to think about it beyond just your degree, because as much as you may have the foundational concepts, there's more out there. To the point where we hired a guy recently. He's got apps on Google Play already.
Wow.
Focused.
So passion is really important, because there's going to come a time, if you're chasing money, you're just going to do your 9 to 5. You're just going to wake up every morning and clock in, clock out. And I actually tell the grads, to be honest, nobody ever got ahead in their career by doing their 9 to 5.
And it's most likely going to get boring too.
It will. If it doesn't excite you, you won't want to get up in the morning. And I think you need to put yourself in a position where, in as much as sometimes you'll have to work hard, you must be excited in the morning to say, oh, I'm going to work. I'm working on all the systems. And if you're not passionate or interested in the work you're doing, then
it's not going to work well. Okay? But like, I just want to ask this quick one. You know, when you're interviewing, you know, the men and the women, I know you can like, you know, note the differences. You know, what are the differences when you interview them?
So I wouldn't say there's necessarily differences, but okay, first point, in the computer science faculties and IT faculties, there is more men than women.
yeah, that's true.
Right? So when we receive applications, there's already an imbalance. There's more men applying than women. And then that still filters into the interview stages. I interview more men than women, right? So it's a ripple effect. Hence, when you even look at tech companies, it's more men, right? I think also the difference is when you have a hiring panel, especially for a tech role, naturally it'll be predominantly men, right? And so when we interview young women, it's very exciting, right? I'm like, yay, finally. But also there's a sense of nervousness. And I guess it's no fault of theirs, because they don't know any better. But there has to come to a point where you walk in the room for an interview and you have the exact same confidence that a man does. Right? So that's the biggest differentiator.
But how can people do that?
How do you overcome that?
It's not easy, you know, when you're in line maybe we're all coming for an interview,
Yeah.
and I see myself as the only woman here. And obviously, they're going to put me on the side. Automatically, the men are going to come together and start talking on the side, boys, I can do this. Crazy stuff, been doing C# since I was a kid, And I know myself, I haven't touched C#. I know Python, I know Java, and with Wits, I know, like I'm very strong here, not really technical wise. How do I get that confidence and make sure I stand up for myself, even in those trying times?
So my advice is not because a particular person is a woman or a man, right? My advice, I give this to everybody, every student rather.
Yeah.
When you walk into an interview, there's nobody in that room that knows you better than you.
Than yourself, yeah.
Right? Much like a salesperson, when they're selling your product. Now you're walking into an interview, you're selling this company the idea of yourself, the skills you bring to the table. You're your own salesperson at the end of the day, right? And the other thing is, you also may be technically brilliant, right? But if you are not able to convey those ideas to somebody else, then really what's the point, right? Because you know what you know, but you're having difficulty conveying it to others. How am I as the recruiter going to know what you know?
And that's a skill that you guys also want, right?
Exactly. And it's more than just that, because when you do eventually come into the world of work, there's so much collaboration in tech. You're going to need to convey your ideas, and not just to other developers, but your business analysts, your testers, your PMs. There's a lot of non-technical people in the workspace. So we always say, the kids will be like, but everybody says communication. But it's the truth.
And
right?
effective communication as well.
Exactly, 100%. So when you walk into that room, I'm not saying go in where you're like overly confident and to the point where it's arrogance. No. What I'm saying is, you know what you know. And even those that you don't, it's always, okay, but I'm willing to learn it. Right? Because, and back to my earlier point where I said your degree is not enough. You have to be aware of that. Right? So you go in there, you're fully equipped and you're aware of the skills you do have, the tools you know how to use, but you are also self-aware to the point where I know there's more out there. So confidence is a confidence, communication, and again, you are your own salesperson.
And you've been in this industry for some time, right? How have you seen the imbalances, between obviously the genders, right? And if so, like, do you think they're very out there, or it's just those like subtle moments and stuff like that?
I think it is very evident, but over time it has progressed because there's now representation of women in the tech space. But okay, like when it comes to the interviews, guys have this confidence. Sometimes they don't really qualify for the role, but they're confident enough to just go there and give it a try. With girls, sometimes you tick some boxes and you're like, and then they're more scared to actually even apply. And then even when you are almost ready to get into the job, sometimes you have this feeling of like, oh, I'm not good enough, or I don't know enough. But like Dinielia said, you need to have that mindset of, I might not know everything, but I'm willing to learn. And you have to put yourself out there. You're the only person who knows yourself, like, wow. But you have to market or brand yourself in such a way that people understand, okay, fine, I might not know everything, but I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to put in the effort and also just stand up for yourself. It's male dominant, and sometimes it's easy for you, like in meetings, to get, like overridden. The guys have everything to say. But just stand up for yourself and don't be scared to give your opinion as well. Sometimes you do get the opportunity to give your opinion, but because of fear or, they might not like it, you then like, oh no, thank you, I have nothing from my side. But when you do have an idea, or you do have that opportunity to share your opinion, or your input about something, then give that an opportunity, because it also allows you then for people to know more about you, what you're good at, and so forth. Because if they don't know, they can't even offer opportunities for you to even grow, like in whatever role you're in. So that is something.
How do you do that though? Like, my question, it's more like yeah, sure, I'm in a meeting
Yeah.
room, right, with all these men.
Yeah.
And obviously I'm going to feel overwhelmed. They're going to acknowledge me, but they're going to acknowledge me as a woman.
Yeah.
Okay, you're the only girl here. Okay, cool. We see you, right? But their priorities are going to come first. And obviously because of their, I don't know, masculinity or whatever. I don't know, men, yeah. But how do you, I don't know, you can try and stand up for yourself, right? But you're always going to feel like pressed down somehow as a woman, obviously. And you know, another thing that I've been thinking a lot about is with women, we have a lot of this, we have issues. We are very emotional people.
That's true.
One, we have our time of the months. Two, that people tend to not understand sometimes. And in the workplace, how do you go around that, you know? Because sometimes I really don't want to talk to you, Craig. I just want to go and do my work.
And then go home
if I talk
today.
to you, I might say the wrong thing.
Yeah.
How do I work around that?
Okay, so for me, one thing that I've realized, in as much as it's something we experience monthly, it really isn't an excuse, right? And what I mean by this is you can't be moody and disrespectful or, you know, just like intentionally being rude or pushing people away. I think we just need to learn how to communicate to people that, you know, okay, now's not the time. And most of the time it's like aggressive, and then that causes more problems.
Yeah.
So in as much as it is not the time, like I don't want to be interacting with you, I think we just need to work on relaying that in a nicer way so that people understand, and also other people also just realizing that, okay, no, this person doesn't want to be talked to now, like this is not the time. And then also we shouldn't let our emotions get the most of us. We're very emotional, which is a good thing because, you know, sometimes it also helps us make good decisions for the business and even in our different roles. But we also shouldn't be overly emotional. You know, sometimes there's no need to be overly emotional about, you know, as girls, someone can say something and you'll get so triggered, and sometimes you want to cry and, you know, so forth. But we just shouldn't be overly emotional in certain things. So I think that emotional regulation is something we need to work on. But also we shouldn't become emotionless that, you know, now we can't utilize the God-given emotion that we have.
That we're given, yeah.
I think also to add, to which Ashleigh mentioned, we shouldn't use it as an excuse, and it's true. 100% agree. Because when you're a woman, regardless of the space you're in, but I guess in the world of work, in corporate, you have to work 10 times harder, right? So don't give anybody an excuse or a reason to say, you know, oh, Pretty's like this, or she's so difficult to work with. You have to be the best version of yourself every time you step foot into work, right? And sometimes that's harder than other days, right? But you never want to give anybody a reason or an excuse. And yes, sure, we're emotional beings. We all are. I just think men have a better way of hiding it. Definitely, right? So again, you don't want to give them an excuse or a reason, because you've come this far. You don't want to lose something in a second, in a minute, because you know you couldn't handle your words coming out of your mouth. So that's also something to, I guess, think about.
And it's also not to say, don't pretend that, let's say you're in pain, like if it's that time of the month, or that you're really not stable. But I think we just need to learn to communicate. Like, okay, now's not the time. But we shouldn't pretend like, oh, everything is good when really,
it's
headaches, the pain and all. But I think we just need to communicate it effectively.
But like, obviously, as women, we also have to acknowledge the fact that these things happen. Right? They're going to be there. It's not every day that it's a good day. You know? And how best do you think, you know, the industry or companies can make it inclusive to women, to accommodate that also, you know, margin for mistakes or whatever? Because sometimes, let me say, people with let me talk about with menstrual cycles. It's different with everyone, right? How I react to some things is I'm in pain. Like I can't survive this whole day. But it's not an excuse, unfortunately, because I'm not pregnant. You know, and it's because I don't have death in the family. It's just a menstrual period to everybody else. How can the industry be more inclusive to those things, or should we just ignore them and say, you know what, tag it out? Just make sure that you're not moody for the rest of the day for us, because we're not gonna take you seriously.
Just to add on that, because a lot of women, in terms of their periods, a lot of people have, normal periods, but there's women who struggle with maybe endometriosis, and that automatically makes your periods harder because you in more pain. Your flow is way heavier than everybody else's. So how can they be inclusive to people who, let's say, have conditions like that?
Yeah, I think for me, one idea, I believe some companies already have it implemented. If you are really in that much pain, then you can work from home. There's no need for me to come into the office and potentially explode on someone. Rather, I stay at home. I can still work, especially like if you have that ability to do like completely remote work or like work from home. Rather, when it's that time of the month and I know very well I cannot function because the pain is too much, rather the company should just allow women to work from home on that day. And it's not that thing of like, it's not because I don't want to be involved or be in office. It's just better for everybody and for myself to be at home. And then
I think I also saw one of these tech companies, they implemented a menstrual leave.
That's
So yes, now that there are women at the table, such discussions are being had. And there is progress on that matter. And it goes beyond just menstruation. We have a lot of women empowerment events. And we get subject matter experts to come in and talk about a lot of different topics, like financial well-being. Because, we need to know how to manage our money. Right? Coming and talking to us about how to, look after our families in the event we're no longer. Discussions on setting your goals and how to actually maintain them. You always hear that how on the 1st of January the gym is full and then on the 2nd, right? So those things like, having goals in mind and sticking to them. And again, there's a lot of different topics and discussions that's being had because there are women at the table.
I think we do see the difference, hey? And I think it's also important. And I know on the previous episode, I was like, they don't really need to single us out. But in some things, in things like this, where it's not common to all the genders that, we all have a menstrual, cycle and stuff like that. Such things, they need to be brought forward to the table, right? And it's very nice to also be in this generation that addresses those things, and they don't put us by the sink and say wash dishes and stuff and do actions there, But on to my next question. I'm just gonna double back into tech, What are some common barriers that you think women face when they're entering or advancing in tech, after the whole recruitment process, interviews, what are the barriers that we tend to face when we want to advance in our careers and, I don't know, end up being a director or something like that?
So again, it doesn't just go for tech, it goes for any field, right? There's things like, you walk into a boardroom or you're part of a team and you're the only woman. You get sidelined, even if you have this really bright idea, because it's coming from you, it's not heard. Until a day later, a guy comes and says, I have this idea. And all of a sudden, everyone hears it.
Things are changing.
Right.
Come on.
Exactly. So those things do happen. It's a long battle of, even when women are at the top, men are like, but how did she get there?
That's important.
Which even when you are working hard to do your best and to get there, then there's comments like that, right? So I guess the challenges you're talking about in tech are challenges that are in the world of work for women in general, right? And sometimes you can just be really brilliant, talented individual, But if you have somebody in your team or in your company that I guess has it out for you in a way, you're never going to make it to the top.
Yeah.
Right?
Which is
It
sad.
just makes it difficult. And again, I'm not saying it's impossible.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is it's harder.
Yeah. So you kind of have to push like an extra mile.
100%. And you have to do it in such a way that you are not sort of bulldozing everybody. Because then it becomes, oh no, she's too difficult to work with. Or, you know, she doesn't make any sense and that kind of thing. So women have to be more strategic. We're trying to make our way to the top. You have to not only be really good at your job, but you have to play the game as well.
Yeah.
You know the rules. Yo,
How tiring is that, though?
why do we always have to work an extra mile? Why can't we be like
That's
everyone else?
exhausting.
Yo, now we have to be intellectuals. We have to be this. We have to be strategic. Guys, but it is what it is.
So I just wanted to add, like, I'm also a strong believer in that. Let your work speak for yourself as well.
100%.
Your work really needs to speak for yourself, and it must be consistent.
Yeah,
So it mustn't be one day you're producing this excellent work, and then tomorrow it's like
it's down.
just there. So consistency, and like mentioned earlier, the ability to continuously learn. If you're not upskilling yourself, it's not going to help anybody else. And also networking. And I think we also, as ladies, sometimes have this thing of men are against us, but I don't think they are against us, right? And we really need to cultivate this mindset of collaboration, even with the guys.
Yeah.
Because if we think it's us against them, then nobody's getting anywhere.
Yeah.
And when it comes to even negotiation, sometimes there's a role open.
Yeah.
But because, like I said, we look down on ourselves, we feel like we're not good enough. We don't even apply for it. And, sometimes you do get that opportunity to take up that role. But because you're a girl, they'll like try to like negotiate your salary down or something like that. But know what you want. Because if you don't know what you want, you won't know, okay, no, this is what I like. It's in alignment with what I want, and then you just take it because that's what they're telling you. So if you're not happy with what they're telling you or the requirements or what can I say, the package, then stand up for yourself and be like, you know what, I really want this role, but this is not what I want, and you tell them. But it comes with that awareness of what you want, where are you planning to go. So if you don't know that, then you can't say, okay, this is something that I want, I'm happy to take it, or this is what I had in mind, and then they meet you halfway,
Yeah. And do you think like that's different, like in regards to negotiating and stuff? Do you think it's different when it comes to women and men when they're in that office and they have to negotiate for their salaries and stuff?
Guys are bold, confident. If it's not what they want, they will boldly say it and they'll get what they want. But girls are just like, oh, okay, that's what you want. And sometimes it's not even that there's a limit on, like, let's say the salary. Sometimes it's just you're not saying what you want.
Yeah.
And then because you've already accepted what they told you and you're not saying, but this is not really what I want, then you just end up with that. But if you had stood up for yourself, if you had said, I'm not too happy with this, then you'd be surprised. They'll actually like meet you where you wanted to be.
Also on that, so not something I've experienced personally, but like a third party situation, I guess I heard. There was a position vacant and 2 individuals applied, male and female, exact same years of experience and everything. And the hiring manager or the founder, whatever of that company was like, yeah, let's give the job to the guy because, he has a wife and kids, so we should also give him more money.
Oh.
What?
So unfortunately, those things, as much as we think in our heads, it really doesn't happen, it does.
Yeah.
It's not just like a YouTube skit that we see. It does happen out there. And even to the point where Ashley mentioned earlier, you have to be consistent in your work.
Yeah.
Because they're waiting for the one time for you to make a mistake and they're going to be like, remember Zakiti when she did so and so.
Yeah.
So,
no. It is a job and a half, hey?
Yeah.
And I think what I've seen, I think maybe in tabloids and stuff, you remember the Coldplay concert?
oh yeah.
What a scandal.
It just reminds me like how, when women are like, upskilling themselves when they're like rapidly moving up, in their companies and stuff like that, most people are going to think they are, using that way, that route. It's not even about your brains anymore, and stuff like that. And unfortunately, it is like a reality, you know, that at the end of the day, you just have to prove to yourself and the people around you that, you know, you are actually intelligent. It's not even about you doing all those kind of things, you know. But yeah, I just want to maybe like when we're wrapping it up, right? What message would you give to this kind of women that they have experienced this, right? It has happened to them, but now they're done, you know, because you have to fight all the time. You're fighting in the boardroom, you're fighting there, you're fighting to get a job, you're fighting. It gets tiring, you know, always having to prove yourself. Yes, it is nice, it is good and stuff like that, but to someone else, they sit on their desk the whole day. But then next thing they're being called, come, we wanna put you in a better position. With you always have to show face. You know, you have to start walking, wear heels, and, you know, act like you are. How do you like? And some people do get tired of that, you know, and they get demoralized and they get desensitized to this thing. They just get used to the reality. How do you uplift such a woman?
Okay, I would say, number one, don't give up. In as much as it can get tiring and overwhelming, don't give up. But also know your limits. There's some times where you just have to acknowledge the reality of whichever space you're in. And it could be affecting you emotionally, mentally, and even physically sometimes. Know your limits, and sometimes you just need to move to a different space, you know. Just
maybe it's not for you.
It's not for you. Pack up and leave, and there are greater opportunities. And if you're intentionally presenting yourself, working hard, you know, putting yourself out there based on the work that you do, your knowledge, your skills, and, you know, just the type of person that you are, you won't go long without finding another opportunity. So don't feel like this will be the end. And, you know, sometimes there's that fear of not wanting to leave, let's say, a specific job or role or environment because you feel like there's nothing out there for me. But if you're honestly doing and you're following your good models, you won't go long without finding another opportunity. So don't be scared to leave when it becomes too much and your limits are exceeded, because sometimes there's no need for you to go through all that, you know, the pain, the trauma. You know, sometimes you go home, you cry, and nothing is changing. And seek for help. There's so many resources out there where you can actually get help, but don't be scared to leave when it becomes too much, because you won't go long, because your work speaks for yourself, and you find a better, more fun, uplifting environment. Because if you have a nice environment, it just makes you more excited to go to work. So don't feel like
know your worth.
Know your worth. Yes, know your worth, and, you know, go to different places where you feel appreciated. Because, you know, appreciation is also something that people take lightly. If you're working hard and that appreciation is not ever, like, you know, vocalized, sometimes you'll feel like, oh, am I not doing enough? Am I not doing a good job? But there are environments where they'll appreciate all your hard work, and you realize that, you know, I was fighting for people who didn't really appreciate me. And when you do step out into this new role or new environment, you realize that, you know, it was worth it. And now that pain is gone. So,
Yes, I agree with Ashleigh. You know, if you don't feel valued where you are, move on. I guess my piece of advice is a little different. You're only allowed one day to feel sorry for yourself. One day to cry it out, do what you need to do to get it out of your system, and then you get back up fresh the next morning and you go. Because nobody is going to remember that Pretty was in the corner crying or Pretty didn't show up for work. You have to show up for yourself, because nobody else is going to. And even when you don't show up, nobody will remember. Nobody's going to check up on you. It's you. It's only you. You've got. Sure, we've got our family, we've got our friends, but they're not going to stick around long enough to pull us out of this rut that we're in. Right? And, you know, 10 years down the line, when you look back on your life, you don't want to think, no, you know, for the past 10 years, I kept feeling sorry for myself. Because nobody else is feeling sorry for you. Nobody else is feeling sorry for you. So, sure, take that time, take that day, whatever it is, cry to your heart's content, watch your series, have your ice cream, whatever you do to self-soothe. Self-soothe. right? But the next morning, you get up early, get in the shower, put on your best outfit, your makeup,
Those heels.
those and you get out there and you do your thing, because the truth is nobody cares.
Yeah.
Nobody cares.
You just have to like clock that, like
Yeah.
just know that it's
it.
true, you know. You know, that's,
You're on your own. I think, I mean, obviously we don't work,
yeah.
but we have bad days at school.
Yeah.
And especially with constant tests and constant assignments, and let's say, okay, you got that email from Gradescope, marks are out, and you're like, I have another test tomorrow. Mommy, you have 1 hour. You have 1 hour to cry about your test that you failed.
Yeah.
As soon as that hour is over, you get up and you study and you go.
Yeah.
Because there's no time to waste.
Yeah.
Because if you keep in that mindset of, oh, you know, the world is against me, and you know, everybody's out to get me, and I have so many ups, you know, it's gonna unfortunately just weigh you down, and it's just gonna affect everything in your life. So yes, I get it, and trust me, I have hard days myself, and you know, Ashleigh is my friend, and she knows about them. But you only allowed a few minutes. Dust it off, get back at it, because you don't want one moment to change the trajectory of your whole life.
Yeah.
Ish.
And as women, sometimes we can overthink too much and end up dwelling on that one situation where you say the wrong word and you don't know the right thing to say, and you literally like let it consume you. So in situations like that, just collect yourself together and keep moving, because like Dinielia said, no one is really going to remember it. The only one who will remember it is yourself, and now you're stressing yourself over something. People have moved on already. Everyone is running their own race. So
Like, you know how sometimes you sit late up at night and you think, yo, that 5 years ago when I fell down the stairs, it was so embarrassing.
What was I doing?
But nobody remembers that. Only you.
exactly.
So think about it like that as well.
Yeah.
Yo, thank you so much, guys. This has been very wonderful conversation. We're gonna leave this time to we're gonna leave this time to bite games with a little something yana, you know, just to keep the blood running.
Lighten up the mood.
So the first question is, what emoji do you guys use the most?
Yo, I use the crying emoji a lot. That one, it says a lot. Either I'm happy, I'm sad, I'm stressed, I'm what. I use the crying emoji a lot. But there's this new one, man. It's like a man. I use it a lot. Yo, it conveys my feelings a lot. It's just that one.
The shaking the head.
Okay, I can't choose one, but it's definitely the crying emoji, because it can also be laughing, so it explains everything. But also the skeleton, and which might be giving away my age. The skeleton could be something really bad, or I'm just so dead from laughing. So it could be those.
Okay, for me, my favorite color is purple, so I try to use the purple heart as often as possible.
Positivity.
Mine's the crying one, but not because I'm crying. I'm always laughing.
Always the laugh.
Always laughing.
Same. Okay, second question is, if you could swap lives with any iconic woman in history or pop culture for one day, who would it be and why?
That's an interesting one.
I don't know. I've been thinking like this woman has been in my life since primary. Like every time people ask me who's your what do you call I always mention her. It's Taraji P. Henson. I feel like me and that lady have the same character, man. If we'd swap lives, obviously I'll be much richer for that. But I still get to keep my character and, you know, just the humor and stuff. I feel like she is funny, but she's also uplifting. Because if you see the stuff that she does on the side, you know, the UNICEF, the World Health Organization, and all those other things that they do on the side, these women, I feel that's also important. But while it's also being yourself at the same time. So it's definitely Taraji.
Guys, I'm not trying to be unique or special here. But there isn't anybody that comes to mind that I would switch my life for. And I'm not saying my life is, great and fantastic and all that. But I feel like I have a purpose and I'm making an impact in my own small way.
Yeah.
And that's what I feel I was brought to this earth for,
Yeah.
So I am perfectly fine being Dinielia until the day I guess I'm no longer.
Yeah.
I think for me, I would say Michelle Obama, just because of the strength that she carries out. She's what can I say? When we think of, Black women of impact, I think of her. So I just, want a few days just to be in her shoes, get the opportunity to also interact with the sort of people that she interacts with. So yeah, I'd want to. Not for long though, because I also do.
Definitely. You have to come back home.
I don't think I'd switch my life with anyone. I think there's women I look up to. There's always women that inspire me. Michelle Obama, Beyonce, Issa Rae. There's every single woman that exists I look up to. My mom. But yeah, I don't think I would switch lives with anyone because people go through pain. I don't want to go through their pain.
And you're not being aware of it. So
yeah.
Oh, that's it. Okay. Thank you guys for being with us today. We had a very great time together. Hope we do this again.
Definitely.
And to our viewers, we love you and we're going to see you on the next episode. Bye.
bye.